Hello, this is Bill Humbert again. Good to see you. I know you're saying, Humbert, usually I see you dressed in a pastel blue shirt. Maybe you've got, oh, sport coat on, maybe even a sweater. And today, you're dressed in your DeMatha sweatshirt. What's going on? Well, today is a work day, and I'm the author of Employee 5.0, Secrets of a Successful Job Search in the New World Order. Now, why is that important to you? I'm a professional recruiter with 37 years of experience. If you're sick and you've got an illness that's not something like a cold or the flu, do you go to a specialist? Yep, I'm your specialist if you're looking for a job. I'm recruiterguy.com. Look at me, yay! Okay, I know right now you're probably not in the happiest mood. And I don't care if you've been working in the same company for 10 years and you've just decided the time is right for me to leave. And you know what? Employee 5.0, that's what they do. They take charge of their career. And you can do that also. Now, what do you need to do first if you're deciding to make a job change? Some of you are going to say, oh, I got to make a resume. True, but not yet. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to discuss your first steps. And the first of the first steps is really important. That's your skills assessment. And the reason that's so important is that is what you're going to use for creating your resume, that's your marketing piece, and for creating your networking, your Here I Am speech is what I call it in my book. And then also, it's very, very important to create your stories that you're going to use while you're interviewing. So let's get started. When you're getting ready to create your skills assessment, what I'd suggest you do is go out and you spend a whole dollar and buy yourself one of those legal pads. You know, and wow, it just left the picture. It's way over here, and that's way over there. But anyway, it's a nice big one, and that's a sheet that has lots of lines on it. And fill every line on the sheet that says professional. Fill every line with something that you do well professionally. And the same thing on the top of the second one, write personal. And fill every line with something that you do well personally. Now, when you're creating this sheet, it's really, really important that there's no fillers. Everything that you do well. And it could be seemingly simple. For instance, as a recruiting consultant, I take off from Salt Lake City and they drop me out of the sky into some building somewhere, anywhere in the United States, and I land in somebody's office, their cube, it doesn't matter. I end up there. And as a recruiter, I always need paper clips. Maybe I should go to one of those big box stores and buy a whole big box of them. But usually companies got them, so I don't have to do that. And I go out to the administrative assistant and I say, can you tell me where I might be able to find some paper clips? And generally what they say is, just look in the top drawer, center drawer in the desk that you're sitting in, and I'm sure there's some in there. Well, you know, sometimes I look in there and I think something's living in there. Shh. There's candy wrappers, cookie wrappers, cracker wrappers, and I don't know what else. But I don't want to put my fingers in there because I'm afraid that it'll bite me, and I don't want to be bitten. Other times you look into those top center desk drawers, and what do you see? Everything's well ordered. You have the staples here, you've got the longer one for the pens and pencils there, you've got the paper clips, yay! And back in the old days, there was probably even some erasers. Not so much today because we're doing our erasing. Delete, delete, delete. So if you keep a well-ordered desk drawer, something that you may not even think about when you're creating your assessment, put that on your list. And anything else like that. That's a sign of your organizational skills. And, you know, anything that would have, if you manage people, anything that you can say that's important for that. For instance, your people get promoted up into higher level positions within the company. Anything like that is really a good skill. As a recruiter, I'm looking for those kinds of skills. Now, on the personal side, if you live in Park City, I've got some really bad news. On my list is I make the best spaghetti in Park City. Obviously, if that's on my list, it can't be on yours. And I know it's true because my wife tells me so. Therefore, it must be so. We've been married almost 45 years now. I must make the best spaghetti in Park City. Of course, there may be that little element of, I want honey to do it for me. Not saying that's the case. Of course, I'm sure she's telling the truth. I must make the best spaghetti in Park City. Therefore, if you live in Park City, you can put everything down, but not that. And the reason you're doing a professional list and a personal list is the personal list sometimes has things that cross over to the professional list and vice versa. So think of your garage. Do you keep a well-ordered garage? Well, if so, then you probably keep a nice well-ordered desk drawer or anything else. Therefore, that goes on your list, and maybe on both sides. Now wash back through both of those lists, and this is very important. Put an asterisk next to every item where you enjoy doing that task or that skill or that attribute. And the reason you do that is you want to focus on those things. When in my book and, through 25 years of coaching people who are looking for their next position, I suggest to them, let's try to find a job where at the end of the day you're going, wow, they're even paying me to do this. Isn't that the best kind of job? You know what? That's my job. Whether I'm recruiting for people or I'm coaching people, that's my job, is to have so much fun at the end of the day. I'm going, wow, I even get paid for this. Isn't that super? Well, you can do that also. So let's get you there. Now, after you've done that, then what I want you to do is wash back through a third time. And every single one of those items that gets the asterisk, create a story that demonstrates you have that skill, that attribute, and write the story using the 4 W's. And in my book, I define the 4 W's as, number 1, what was the situation? So describe what was going on. Number 2 is, what was your analysis? And what was your action after you made your analysis? Number 3, there it is. Number 3 is to ensure that you can tell them the result of your action and your analysis. Number 4 is what did you learn? We always learn from things. Sometimes it's good things. Sometimes what you've learned is, I learned never to do that again. And you know what? Include a couple of those stories in your repertoire. Because sooner or later, I'm going to ask you a question that goes something like this. Tell me about a time when you had a situation and you analyzed what was going on, and then what was your action, and maybe the result didn't turn out the way you thought it would be. So tell me about the result, and more importantly, what you learned from that. So practice a few of those. I've got a couple stories in my book that people didn't practice those things. And what they were doing was, this one person in particular, she said that she liked people too much. And for me, as a recruiter, for an administrative assistant position to the VP of sales, I'm going, ooh, that might not be good. Maybe she talks to people about the things that she shouldn't be speaking. Turned out what she did was she took that and she made it a strength. And I know that some of you have been coached to do that. Probably not a good thing, because what I do is I then probe it. And if you're not prepared for my probing, things won't go so well. So once you've got those stories created, write them down. You don't have to write the entire story, but maybe just a few words for each W. And then once you've got that done, now you're ready to do a lot of things. You're ready to start your interviewing because you've got the stories. You dredged them out of the bottom and the silt, and now they're up and nice and clean in the sunshine. And your brain's going, darn, I was going to hide that story from you. You know, think about this. They tell us that we only use 10% of our brain. Can you imagine how bored that other 90% is? Well, that's the side of your brain that withholds information. How many times do you come out of a conversation and when you got finished and you're maybe 15 minutes down the road, your brain goes, guess what? I had a better story, but I didn't give it to you. It happens to all of us. It even happens to me, believe it or not. So now you've got your stories created, you've done your assessments, and you know where your focus should be for your next job. And, you know, this is really important, and you'll find out a lot more information in Employee 5.0, Secrets of a Successful Job Search in a New World Order. Now, some of you are saying, but you never told us why you got dressed like this today. Well, that's a work day. You got to get dressed and get those sleeves up and go to work hard and get that job done of getting those skills down on paper, and make it a dynamic list, because your brain's going to play with you, and about 3 or 4 days from now it'll say, there's a couple more things. Write them down and then make a decision. Or do these get asterisks? And maybe they're really important, maybe they should. And then create those stories. So have a great day, and I will see you next time.